Welcome everybody. Thank you very much for taking the time and coming here. I know that you have very tight schedules and I know that you're busy, and I do actually appreciate your coming to attend this presentation. Alright?
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm Gabrielle. I'm the Program Manager at the English Studies Division, School of Continuing Education, American University in Cairo. And our topic today, as you see, it is Q Skills for Success. I will talk mainly about online practice, and I'm sure you know how relevant and important this is to you as, of course, as conversation teachers and stage mentors as well. I'll be tackling mainly three things, so I divided the presentation into three parts. First part, it's going to be about the teacher's access and use. I'll show you how to access the Q online practice as teachers and how to use them ideally. Hopefully this part will last for less than 10 minutes. And then the second part is the learner's access and use. I will talk about how to access Q skills for success online practice as if you were learners, just to guide the learners how to use and how to access and use them, of course. And this should take also about 10 minutes. And the last part, I will show you a repertoire of teaching resources that I managed to download for Q skills for success in general, not only for online. Okay. So, of course, as a start, I hope that by the end of the session, you as speech mentors and teachers as well, you will be able to do the following. These are can-do statements for this very small presentation. So I hope that you can say, after this presentation, I can access and use Q skills online practice as a teacher. I can guide my learners how to do so, access and use Q skills on online practice as a learner. And finally, I can use the Q skills teaching resources. And of course, when you do this, you can just simply check this in your little CDF. You don't have a CDF for this presentation, okay? Well, since we preach, the can-do philosophy, so I just want you to have this kind of can-do-tude or can-do attitude all the time, just to enable the learners to understand our philosophy and to follow it. First, here, the first thing that I will talk about is how to use it as a teacher. Okay? Might be a bit small here, but of course when we use the online website, it's going to be quite clearer. Before I start this little presentation, I just remembered a reading passage or a story that I had in a reading passage.
Is this the sign for the low battery? It couldn't be because it's too early.
Oh, no, record. This is the sign for record. Alright, so before I show you how to access the Q skills online practice as a teacher, right, this kind of manual, you received it by mail. I just remembered a little story that I had in a reading passage a long time ago when I was in my middle school about a professor who was too busy, who had many jobs several places, and he wanted to give a presentation at the same time he was teaching. So all that he did was recording the lecture and giving it to the students and telling them, come on, when I press play, I'll go, you just listen, I'll come back and check that you are listening. He just wanted to exist at two places at the same time. Funnily and, fortunately, she finished the presentation at other place very fast. She came back and found that the whole class is empty. And she found small, recorders on the seats. The students simply paused the lecture and they turned on their MP3 recorders or players, and of course they were recording the lecture. So what does this have to do with what we're doing? Well, Q skills online practice will enable you as teachers, as conversation teachers, to be there with the students while you are actually not. So they will experience your influence while you are away. Okay? But it's actual, not like the story I told. Right, so how do we access the Q online practice as teachers? First of all, you will go to this website. That's Q online practice, and this is what you will see. Well, you are going to use this register button later on as learners. But as teachers, I want you to use this area. I sent you by mail an email address for each stage and a password. That is quite easy to memorize. Well, the email, if you remember it, it is AUC ESD. Sorry, AUC, do you remember? Conversation. AUC ESD, conversation. QS, that's Q skills. And then the stage you are teaching. It could be 2 or 3 or 4. Let's see, for example, 3. At gmail.com. And then the password. The password for this term, it is the kind of learners you're teaching. Developing, maturing, or accomplished. For 3, what kind of learners do we have?
Maturing.
Maturing learners. So we write here maturing learners. And then we press login. And you wait for a while. Now, some of you might ask, okay, now I'm accessing the online practice as a teacher. I haven't learned yet about the components here, but could it be accessed at the same time by another teacher? Of course it can be accessed, as long as it's a different computer. And we can actually try this on a different browser right now. You will see the same thing, okay? So now that we are on here, what do we have? We have, as you see here, 4 buttons at the top, a kind of menu here, and 4 other buttons here in the middle. This is home, and you are there, so you don't have to click it. It's not clickable. And I told you, I begged you in the email, please, and I put some crosses here, don't you ever use these. For this help here, I'm showing you how to use it, so there is no need to click. For edit profile, if you play with this one, you will not enable other teachers to access what you are actually accessing and using. So please don't go there and log out. You simply, you just press this X button here and just log out of the whole page. So please don't use this horizontal menus. Use these. Okay? What do we have here? We have manage classes, view reports, enter online practice, add a new book. We are going to talk only about the first 3. You don't have access. You cannot add new books. I will do this for you. Okay? So now what happens when we press, what is the most important thing you need in all these? What is the most important button here?
To manage the class.
Manage the classes? I do this for you.
Yeah. Oh, the report. No,
you view reports as teachers.
Enter online practice.
Enter online practice to see the content, to know what your students will be doing when they are at home, so that if they come to class with questions, teacher, I went to online practice unit 8 activity vocabulary 1 and I didn't understand what this means. So it's a good idea, of course, if you browse all the activities in the unit you're teaching a little bit earlier, a lot before that your students can access and see what it contains. But that's the most important thing. But let me talk about them in order. What happens when we click